All right, so greetings everyone. I hope my audio is working. Second. All right, so greetings everyone again. Welcome to our webinar on optimizing Adobe with OpenLM. I'm Abhijit and I'm Pre-Sales Solutions Manager at OpenLM Limited. So today we are excited to explore how you can enhance the efficiency and performance of your Adobe software by leveraging the powerful capabilities of OpenLM. So we'll delve into the key strategies and practical tips that can help you to get most out of your Adobe licenses. And that will also help you to reduce the cost and improve productivity. So thank you for joining us and let's get started here. Okay, so investing in Adobe Seats is a significant commitment for any organization. So we'll explore the estimated cost for licensing Adobe Acrobat Pro and Creative Cloud. Let's say for an organization with approximately 5,000 employees. Uh, to provide a practical example, let's consider the needs of such an organization. So just an estimated, they'll need around 1,000 to 1,500 licenses for Adobe Acrobat Pro. Uh, And for Adobe Creative Cloud, all apps for Teams, estimation is around 200 to 500. Yeah, like, for example, they've got different departments like marketing, design, etc. Now, overall, if we compute the cost on lower end and higher end, then combining at the lower end, combining, Adobe Acrobat Pro and Creative Cloud licenses, the total annual cost is about, it's huge. And similarly, for even for and if we look at the higher range, then combining both these requirement and both the type of application seats, then it will also be again in terms of it's almost a double that we have for the lower range. Now, these estimates provide a clear picture of the significant investment that organizations need to make in Adobe software. These investments are just not financial, but it also impacts the productivity and operational efficiency. So the bottom line is that any organization, the investment of Adobe licenses is quite huge that we have seen. Now, since you're investing so much on Adobe seats, definitely you also want to manage them properly. Uh, with the conventional SAM methods and some solutions, what we can do, we can track the entitlement, which is very important, and track the all the purchase records of your Adobe licenses that you have purchased over the period of time. uh, Deployment, where have you installed those Adobe applications, so that inventory of the deployment is again one of the things that you get with the conventional SAM methods. Then allocations, like the licenses that you have, that you have purchased under your entitlement, how many of them are allocated to different users, and who are those end users to whom the licenses have been allocated. Now, compliance management is another factor that we can well manage with the conventional SAM methods to ensure compliance with the licensing agreement of Adobe. And then comes your contract management to review, manage the license agreement and renewals, that you have with Adobe. Now, here comes the challenge. Even though you are using a conventional SAM solution, it could be, large enterprise solutions that normally organizations deploy to manage their Adobe licenses. But still, we have seen that there are few challenges, few of them have been listed here, that different organizations do face it. So one of them is random new license request fulfillment. The end users or project teams, they send random requests for a new license of Adobe Acrobat, some different application of Adobe that may not be part of your budget that you had done. Similarly, incorrect assessment of the requirement. There have been instances where we see that the user may require only to read a PDF file. Now, for that, he doesn't need a paid license of Adobe, because he's not going to edit the files. He simply want to read the file. Now, that can be very well managed with Adobe Acrobat Reader, or even if you are using Google Workspace, there also you can simply open the file without using the Acrobat, Pro. So this is something where we sometimes lag, that we are not able to correctly assess that what is the exact requirement, whether we need a costly license or whether you need the entire product suite of Adobe, or it's just a single application license that the end user need. Uh, then the third factor that we have seen, the third challenge that we have seen is, increasing subscription pricing. So year on year, Adobe is increasing their subscription cost. Now, then when, of course, when you are doing that agreement with Adobe, you negotiate, but still we have seen that Adobe is increasing the software cost, the subscription cost of their applications. And very important here, absence of the factual data for reallocation. So you have a license, it is allocated to someone. Now at the same time, you receive another request where the end user wants to get access to the same license, which is already allocated. Now, in such cases, if you don't have the actual data and you only have the SAM data, where you see that, okay, this is the license which is allocated to this user, it is installed on that particular workstation. But is he using that application? Does he require that allocation? So that is the data which is missing most of the times. So this data will actually help you to reallocate the license and avoid the unnecessary expenditure on your Adobe suite or the Adobe license. Now, what exactly we can do with OpenLM for Adobe? So, a solution like OpenLM will help you to actually get more visibility to the usage of the Adobe application. Entitlement is one thing, allocation is another thing, and the most important thing that which is missing without this solution is the usage. Whether the Adobe license that is already allocated to an end user, the application is installed, is he actually using it? Did he use it in the last 6 months? Maybe he was given the access, given the allocation uh, somewhere way back in 2023 in the month of November, and he used it for a month, and after that there was no usage. So we can simply, reallocate that license to another user who needs it. So that kind of data that of the usage which is missing, that we can very well manage with Adobe here, with OpenLM for Adobe. So first thing is duration of the usage. So we can track the total time each Adobe application is used by individual users. Second, identify the accessed Adobe applications, right? So you have given or you have allocated, the entire the costliest Adobe suite to an end user, but is he using all the applications which are part of that product suite, or is it only one or two applications that he needs? So we can actually identify those individual Adobe applications which he's accessing from his workstation. Second, sorry, the last point here that which is very helpful is the last access. So the same example that I gave you just a couple of minutes ago, that an application, the seat of the application you have allocated to a user, he used it for 1 month, and after that he's no longer using it. Maybe he has He doesn't require it. That's why he's not using it, or maybe his role changed or something. Uh, uh, he he's he's no longer he needs that application. So in such cases, we can get that information of last accessed, and with this information, with all these three information from OpenLM for Adobe, we can do a periodic cleanup of the access, and hence we can increase the available pool of seats that we have purchased from Adobe. And on top of that, we can get the factual database reallocations. So this will avoid untimely procurement, unnecessary communications to and fro between the users or the departments with the IT. Because then, as an IT team of the or the SAM team of the organization, you will have enough information uh, for the reallocation process. So one of the key strategy here that can help you to optimize the Adobe licenses that we can see here is how. So let's deploy OpenLM and start monitoring the Adobe usage. Get the usage statistics in the OpenLM system. Now, from these statistics through the reports that we can see, we can actually identify and group users. I'm sorry. So here we can identify the users on the basis of their usage of Adobe applications and group them. So how we are going to group here? Let's say the heavy users, the top 30% of the users of Adobe application could be the heavy users. Most of them will belong to your marketing team or some designing team. If you're from media entertainment industry, they will belong to a particular department who requires it. Now, the next 30% could be the moderate users of Adobe application. And the rest 40%, those who are using it occasionally, once in, let's say in the last 6 months, they have used it once, or they haven't used it in the last 3 months. Now, the focus will be on this group for optimization through reallocations. We can do the periodic cleanup. We can actually, get this report, share it with the management, with the project leads and the program managers, and arrive at a conclusion that okay, these are the end users who from whom we can actually uh, reallocate the license. They do not need it. In case they require it, they will again send a request to the IT to get the access to these licenses. So that's how we can actually group the users, identify who are the heavy users, moderate and occasional, and keep our focus on these occasional users for reallocations, and that will actually help you to avoid any unnecessary purchase in the middle of the year. you know so let me show you the interface of OpenLM, like how we can actually get that information. Give me a moment. Okay, I'm trying to access the reports that we have. Okay. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask us. We have the chat and Q&A options available in this webinar. Okay, so let me share the screen in a moment. Right. So if you see this interface, this is the OpenLM interface where we can actually see all the usage information of different applications, including Adobe. Now let's focus on the Adobe application usage here. Uh, real-time usage of Adobe may not be so important, but what is important here is to keep a track of the historical usage of Adobe uh, uh, licenses. So we can configure the Adobe license usage with OpenLM, so we can track it. Here, this is the license activity report where we can actually identify which particular application of Adobe was used on which workstation by which user. So it is important to note here that from the Adobe interface itself, we are getting or the portal itself, we are getting the license entitlement information and the allocation. But what we need here is the license usage info that OpenLM will give you. Okay. So here, if we see that we have we are generating the report for Adobe usage for the last 7 days. In the last 7 days, these are the end users who have accessed these Adobe application. On which workstation we can track the user with the username and also the workstation host name. The time when this application was accessed and what time it was the session was closed. So here we see we have this Adobe feature that the end users have accessed. Now, this is the activity report for last 7 days. Similarly, we can generate this report for last, let's say, 6 months, 3 months, or even for 1 year, or any period of the time. So by that report, we can actually track that when was the licenses last accessed, or when was this application last accessed by the end user. We can download this report in CSV format, and there we can actually filter out on the basis of time period. That okay, this application was accessed by the user Shahbaz uh, maybe 3 months ago or 6 months ago. So that way we can actually track the usage. So we have a question here that how we can actually keep track of users who occasionally used Adobe and the access was removed. Okay, so occasional users we can track from the license activity report, and also we have an integration with BI where we can actually create a report to check on the basis of time that when was it accessed last, and secondly we can also create filters on the basis of uh, the usage session that okay, this application these users accessed Adobe licenses only for less than 15 minutes or less than 30 minutes. So that way also we can create those filters in the BI where we can track this report. Okay. Another question is this cloud licenses or named licenses? So yes, we can also track the cloud licenses of different applications, including Adobe. So there also we can actually track the license usage. So whether you are using or the end users are using Adobe applications that they have installed on their workstation, this standalone one, and the license was allocated and it was, that allocation was done over the internet, so that those licenses can also be tracked with OpenLM. And if they are using any application which is accessed over the web of Adobe, that also we can track, where we will be tracking that on which workstation the particular uh, Adobe application URL was accessed and which time it was accessed and how long it was in use. So those are the details we can use Adobe application. So for this, we require the OpenLM Applications Manager, with which we configure the usage of the Adobe named user licenses. Okay. So from the process of the Adobe applications, we can actually track it. Now, this report will help us to understand that what all features or what all Adobe applications were used, and also we can track, the last accessed information of Adobe application using OpenLM. So let me get back to this screen again. 1 second. Okay. So what can be here the data-driven approach to optimization of Adobe investment with OpenLM? So begin optimizing our Adobe investment, we start by identifying the individual applications needed by the users. This involves analyzing usage pattern and determining which applications are essential for different roles and departments. So OpenLM helps us to collect the detailed data on application usage, allowing us to make informed decisions about the licenses that are necessary. And by focusing on actual needs, we can avoid overspending on unnecessary licenses and ensure that all users have access to the tool that they need. Another key aspect of optimizing about our Adobe investment is having full visibility into the license, entitlement versus allocation, how these are allocated across the organization and the actual usage of these licenses. Now, OpenLM provides a comprehensive view here, allowing us to see the gap, uh, what we are entitled to, how licenses are allocated, and how they are used. So this visibility helps us to identify underutilized licenses and areas where we might need to reallocate resources to meet the demand. Now, once we have the clear picture of our entitlement allocation usage, we can make the data-driven decision about reallocating the licenses. So OpenLM enables us to reallocate licenses dynamically. We can ensure the resources are used efficiently and when they are most needed. For example, if we see that certain licenses are underutilized in one department, we can easily, reassign or reallocate them to another department where the demand is higher. So this approach ensures that we optimize license usage without incurring additional cost. Now, predictive analysis plays a crucial role in planning our subscription renewals. So, by analyzing the usage trend and patterns, we can forecast future needs more accurately. You know, so though it is not absolutely, 100% possible to, you know, uh, predict that what will be how much we need for the subscription or how much we need to allocate budget for new licenses, but at least we can get that to that to an accurate level where we can see that okay, this is what we need for the future. So OpenLM's predictive analysis help us to anticipate changes in the usage and ensure that we renew right number of licenses. So this proactive approach allows us to negotiate better terms with Adobe and avoid surprises during renewal process. So ultimately, all these helps us to stay ahead in license needs and make more strategic investment decisions. So, to summarize here, a data-driven approach to optimizing Adobe investment involves, identifying specific applications required by the users, gaining full visibility into entitlement allocations, and more importantly, usage. So, this all helps us to reallocate licenses based on actual usage and leverage the predictive analytics for subscription renewals. So, by using OpenLM, we can ensure that our Adobe investment are optimized, cost effective, and aligned with our organizational needs. So uh, now I'd like to open the floor for any question that you may have. Let me see. Okay. There is a question. Apart from Adobe, can we monitor other applications with OpenLM? Yes. So Adobe OpenLM solution can help you to monitor any type of applications. More importantly, if you're an engineering application users or organization using, uh, you know, different applications from engineering domain or let's say any other application which are standalone or using the floating licenses, we can easily monitor it with OpenLM. Another question is here, possible to connect Adobe admin portal with OpenLM? We had that integration still few years ago, but as of now, that possibility is not there. But definitely, our teams are working to get that connectivity established between OpenLM and the uh, admin portal of Adobe, because we have seen that they keep frequently keep on changing those integrations. So that's why we have lost the integration, unfortunately, a couple of years ago. But still, we are proactively working on that. Our teams are working to establish that connectivity again and make it compatible. All right. So thank you for your attention and joining us today for this webinar. Also, would like to mention that we have some upcoming webinars in this month and also in July. So this month we have a webinar on 24th on project usage monitoring with OpenLM. Then we have a webinar on how we can actually save the licenses and the cost on licenses and the cloud versus on-premise way of managing the licenses. Then importance of engineering SAM. So till now, what we have seen that organizations focus more on the business applications, software asset management, but it is also very important to manage your engineering applications from software asset management side of the things. So there, this webinar will be on the 26th. And then on the 27th, also we have a webinar that would be presented by Sheena. So this is language specific. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. You can also subscribe to our newsletter that we are sharing every month we are publishing, and it contains a lot of interactive session details as well as industry topics that could be of interest to you and your organization. So please do not forget to subscribe to our newsletters. And okay, so thank you again, and see you next time.